So much of our knowing is in our bodies, in our hearts, and in our intuition, our consciousness. And yet, many of us go to our minds to try to find the answer. And it's kind of like going to a slot machine and not knowing what image is going to come up. And many times it's stuff that's kind of recirculated instead of new, fresh information. Hi, my name is Heather Schwartz. I'm an intuitive coach. And in today's video, I'd like to offer some suggestions on how to receive information because intuition is literally received instead of thought or analyzed. It's not about a pros and cons list, although you can do that. But if you really want fresh, creative answers, it's not really a direct process. It's kind of like coming at something from a peripheral view to be able to receive information. If you've thought about times when you've been the most creative, what was going on? Chances are likely that you weren't in a rush, you weren't feeling pressured or forced, you weren't pushing yourself really hard to find an answer from your mind, right? It probably was when you were feeling joy, when you were being playful, when you had a sense of spaciousness around you, when you were experiencing something that you loved. So these are all ways that you can begin to amplify your creative sense and tap into the source within you. Some other ways are to ask yourself these questions. So, one question could be, if I were completely tapped into my source right now, what would give me the most sense of support, the most sense of comfort? And you might get images. Like, for example, you might get the image of being hugged by your spirit team, or maybe by people that you love or animals that you love. Um, so that's one question, is what would give you the most support? And again, we're coming at it from a kind of peripheral view. We're not asking ourselves, what's the answer to this question that I really want the answer to, right? It's much more of what needs support right now and what would give that. So another question you can ask yourself is, what would bring joy to me in this moment? And then go do it. Something that I read recently, there's a woman who, I think her last name is Lumiere, and she's created this beautiful process to connect with your intuition. And she says, jump up and down and celebrate yourself. So maybe you jump up and down and celebrate the fact that you have an answer that's coming before you have the answer, because really time is not linear. If you think about all the times you've thought about the past as though it's happening in the present, or actually, they did a study, researchers did a study that found that people who study for a test after they've taken it do better than those who haven't studied for the test after they take it. So it lends credence to the idea that time is not linear. And I've had my own experiences of that, the time bending, which I will not discuss here for the purpose of keeping this video short. But the point is, jump up and down with the understanding that the answer is within reach. And more than that, that life is worth celebrating. So that's another way to access information in a really amazing way where you're tapping into the energy of the answer and the energy. And know that there isn't just one answer, there's many answers that are possible. There's sky's the limit. Another thing you could do is go do something creative, something that involves color, and especially if you're tactile or kinesthetic, let yourself really get into it and let yourself just feel into the joy of doing that without trying to create an answer. It's quite ironic that the more that we don't try to create an answer and instead just get into aliveness and joy and inspiration, can lead to the very answers that our very critical or analytical minds were searching for to begin with. Another great idea is to give yourself permission to be imperfect. Beautiful, whole, creative, resourceful, and imperfect. Just even write yourself a permission slip or a love letter of it's great to be you today. And that too can open up possibilities. So I hope that these suggestions serve you. Another idea that comes to me real quick is being in nature, because nature reminds us all the time that it's safe to be imperfect. In fact, it is what nature is beautifully imperfect and perfect because of it. So, and nature goes through seasons as well. So, these are all suggestions. You can let me know in the comments below what you're trying if you want, or something completely new that you've created in this moment to give yourself that wide, expansive experience of being fully alive, really giving and celebrating yourself first, and then seeing what answers arise. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye for now.